Play. I'm Miss Karen here live at the Early On Center. Today we're going to be focusing on the topic of ball play with your baby. Now, before we get started and before I show you some tips and some activities you can do with your baby, of course, we want to make sure that when we are doing an activity such as ball play, that we always have adult supervision, and especially with our little ones that are 6 months and younger, that we want to make sure that the balls that they play with are at least bigger than their hand so that it's not a choking hazard. So I always try to go with the balls that are about the same size as an adult hand. That way you can make sure that there's no way it could fit into their mouth. So with that being said, I'm going to get started first off with some benefits of ball play. Now the reason why I wanted to choose this topic today is that I wanted to focus on something that you might already have at home. If you have older children, you might already have some balls lying around. Sometimes when you're getting toys for your baby, they already come with little ball items. So let's talk about first the benefits of ball play. So there are many different types of benefits for ball play. This goes from when they are young infants to all the way when they're a little bit older. So one of the first benefits is temporal awareness, also hand-eye coordination, gross motor skills, fine motor, spatial awareness, and much more. They're also learning object permanence, as well as spatial awareness, grasping skills, and I'll get to that in a moment. Definitely problem-solving skills, and also balance and coordination, and language skills. So let me show you the different types of balls that are out there for babies as well as little kids. So I say for babies that are 6 months and younger, as well as up to 18 months, balls with textures would probably be your best bet. So a ball just like this. We use this for our kids that are older, but it's also great when babies are already sitting up. They love the feel of the ball, and it gives them a little bit of a sensory activity as well. So while they're discovering the ball, you see the bright color, they're also able to touch and feel the ball as well. So this is an example of one that is great for texture. We also have this smaller version. Now this one is actually a little bit heavier, and it's good to have balls that, soft balls of course, that have different weights to it and different sizes, because it's more opportunities for them to explore. We also have this version. Now it's not quite a full ball, but it has these shapes that are on it, and this is wonderful for a baby because not only is it soft, it's going to attract them to it, but also the bright color, and as well for them to feel the different forms of the ball. Another ball that we have here, this is also great. I find a lot of our 3 or 4-year-olds like this, but it's also great for when your baby is about 6 months. They'll see what's going on in here. We have a little ball inside, and it's just moving around, and the older they get, they're able to play a fun game with it. They're able to see if the ball's going to go through, kind of like a maze. And now this type of ball is something that you might already have at home. I find that this is a very popular ball for infants and babies up to 24 months of age. And it's the type of ball where it has a little ball inside that makes a noise. Now this is great because it's going to allow your baby to be able to hold and grasp onto the ball. Not only that, but they're going to be attracted to moving it around and hearing the sound. This is great because of the cutouts here. It allows the baby to be able to reach out and grab for it. So it is helping them develop their pincer skills, their hand-eye coordination when they're focusing on it, using their senses to hear it. And of course, again, with the safety, you know that babies are always going to put it in their mouth, so as long as it's a clean surface, they're probably going to try to put this in their mouth, but it's just great because it's part of them exploring. Now another tip I would say, if you do have a ball like this with the cutouts, I've seen some activities where they put some scarves or some little face cloths in here, and if you tuck it into the ball and present it to them to play with, they're going to want to pull out the scarf or the little cloth in it, and it just gives them a chance to work on their problem-solving skills. Of course, as babies, they're not going to know this, but it's definitely a great way for them to develop it. Now, speaking about babies going a little bit older than the infant age, so when you're practicing tummy time with your baby and they're on like the mat or they're on the carpet, it's great to put out a little ball because they're going to be on their tummy, they're looking ahead of them. Put out a little ball about this size. Maybe put 2 or 3 with different textures. This one's a really soft one, it's really squishy. You can put one like this, that's hard texture with some like spikes here that they can feel. As they get a little bit bigger and as their strength builds on, they'll eventually start wanting to reach out to these balls, especially also when they're getting to that age where they're starting to crawl. I've seen some activities where you can put out the ball right in front of them, and if your baby is learning how to crawl, they are going to try to scoot over to the ball. So that is a great way to incorporate that within your baby playtime. Another thing that you might want to try as well, you can use simple kitchen tools that you have, is these little plastic cups. So here at the center we have these cups. They have these cute little faces on them showing the emotions. Now if you don't have that, you can of course use anything you have on hand. So little plastic bowls, little Tupperware works too. So just place it in front of your baby. This is great when your baby's already sitting up. And you can put the different sizes of balls onto the cups. So you can go ahead and place them just like that in front of your baby. The different colors are great too. Now also remember, even as young as your baby is, point out what the colors are. Talk about how the feelings and the textures of the balls, like, wow, this feels spiky, this feels soft, it's squishy, or I see the orange ball. The more vocabulary you use to describe it, the more that it's going to help your baby's development of their language as well. So with going back with the activity, you can put the balls onto the cups. And if your baby is already at that stage where they're sitting up, they're definitely going to want to grab the ball. They're going to take it off of the cup. Eventually they might learn, like, hey, if I take the other ball, put it on here and let's see what happens. And just observe your baby while they're doing this, because this is a great way for them to be practicing hand-eye coordination, gross motor if they try to go after the ball, grabbing the ball, and of course problem solving. What happens? The baby's going to be wondering, what happens if I put the cup on top of the ball, or what happens if I try to put the big ball onto the cup? So when you're doing ball play with your baby, make sure to have a variety of different kinds you have. And the bonus of having these balls for your baby and them playing with it when they're young is that it will grow with them as they get older, of course. Once you have a preschooler, once you have a toddler and beyond, they're going to find a use for these balls to play with. An example of that is, you might see at the center, we love playing with our parachutes. Now, I wanted to point out, I know some of you may not have this at home, but I have found these sometimes at the dollar store or sometimes at the big box stores such as Walmart. They are starting to sell this, especially in the summertime, and we really recommend playing with something such as parachutes, because it's a great way, first of all, to use balls, but it grows with them as they get older. Even our little babies that are sitting up, sometimes we'll all stand around and we'll hold the handles, and the baby will just be right there, and they love seeing the colors and the balls going up in the air. And this is definitely an activity you can do with your baby, preschooler, toddler, and school-age child. Now again, if you do not have a parachute, or you're not able to get one, that's totally okay. You can also use what you have on hand. So if you have like a little baby blanket, or even a little bigger one for your older children, it's a great way to put balls in the middle. As a baby gets older, or even if it's just you and baby, just put the blanket in front of you and them, that they can see it, and see their reaction when you're putting the ball in and you're flapping it around, and they're just looking at it in awe, just amazed at what's happening in front of them. And again, as you can see, we have different shapes, we have different textures, we have different colors. make sure to express that in your vocabulary, because they themselves are going to start learning their vocabulary as well the older that they get. Now, one more thing I wanted to point out, I had mentioned the other week about mirror play with your baby. So this is a great way to incorporate that when you're playing with balls with your child. So right here I have like a little bathroom makeup mirror here. Just have with any mirror that you have on hand. If you have your baby doing tummy time, or they're sitting up and they're playing, let's say on the carpets or on the baby mats, just place the mirror right in front of them with the balls that you have. And it's a great chance for them to see their reflection, to see what they're doing. If the baby tends to explore it with their hands or their mouth, or they're looking at the colors and they see their reflection, it's a great way for them to learn to see what's happening, especially once they're able to identify it as they get bigger, that it's them and the reflection. It's just all a learning opportunity for them. And another thing I was going to point out is that if you're doing baby playtime, no matter how young they are, it's a great time also to introduce shapes. Now, of course, we have a ball and you're not necessarily showing shapes. However, it's a great time to introduce like the shapes of a circle, how it's similar to the form of a ball. So it's also a great way and time to throw in some learning opportunities to talk about shapes. We have the oval here, we have a circle, and you can show your baby how it's similar, like, wow, this is the shape of a circle, or we have an apple, it looks like a ball. So that's a great thing you can also do with your baby as well. And as we get to the older age, as your baby becomes a toddler, becomes a preschooler, and becomes a school ager, you're going to find, of course, the other options for balls. This is an example of a ball that will grow with your baby. I like this type because so it looks like a soccer ball, but it's a nice and soft one. So you can have your baby playing with this as they start sitting up, or you can roll it to them. They can start moving towards it when they're learning how to crawl. But as they get bigger, once they become a toddler, you can start throwing it to them, and it's great, it's safe because it's nice and soft. So if you're able to incorporate a soft, bigger ball like this, it's great, because I assure you they're going to be using it the bigger that they get. For those who come to our center, and they may have seen, we have a little basketball net that we use. The kids love using it, especially at the toddler age. They love exploring with all sizes of balls, and it's a great problem-solving skill, because sometimes they'll try to get a really big ball and it's not going to fit in the net. But it's a great opportunity for them to problem solve and to learn what's going to fit into the net. Now, of course, we have an array of balls here. It doesn't mean you have to have 20 balls, but start off small. So if your little baby has 1 or 2 balls right now, just be aware that when you're going out and you're buying things for your baby, that's the bigger the ball that you have, the longer it'll go for use in the long run. So that is all I have for you today. I hope you guys learned a little bit of some activities that you could do with your baby. Actually, there was one more thing I wanted to show you. This, I have, it's like a bigger version of a paper towel roll. However, if you find something that can be used where you can put a ball in, so you can use a regular paper towel roll or a toilet paper roll and have a shape of a ball. So this one's a good size because it would definitely be bigger than the baby's hand, so definitely not a choking hazard. Once they get a little bit bigger and they're able to stand or even sit up, they're going to feel inclined to put it through the activity that you have right there. It's very simple. You can just tape it to your wall. It's a cheap, fun DIY activity you can do. So on that note, I definitely want to say that I hope you guys enjoyed this and that you return next Thursday for another baby playtime. So we'll see you again. Thanks.